Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I wanted to show you how I made this pizza slice squishy, and it's made out of memory foam with puffy paint on top. So to start off, to make this squishy, I just took a piece of memory foam and I just kind of cut this to size, and then I went ahead and drew out the pizza slice shape that I wanted to pop onto it. Now of course you don't have to cut this to size, but as I do have such a large piece of memory foam, I just found it easier if I was to just, cut this size piece off. Anyway, so the first thing I did was cut out the little indents which were between the slice crust and the rest of the pizza. And then what I did was just cut off all the excess around the triangle bit of the pizza slice and just made sure that the shape was kind of like the same size as the drawing. Then to separate the crust and the slice, I just put slits all the way down it and cut around about, I don't really know, about 1.5 centimeters like from the top of this, so that the pizza slice section was lower down than the crust. I just kind of cut this off in big sections and then smoothed it out as I went along. I also smoothed out all the edges and all the bottom edge so that it was nice and rounded. Next, in order to make the pizza crust nice and rounded also, I just went ahead and cut off all the excess that I didn't want on it, which was basically just down to the crust piece that I drew out on top. And what I did was I just smoothed out all the ends and all the sides so that there was no like sharp corners or anything. And I just smoothed it all out and kind of rounded the edges so they were more like cylinder shape. What I then did was just smoothed out the shape over and over until I was 100% happy with the shape. You'll want to make sure that when you're making your squishies, you want to make them as smooth as possible, as this will help you get a better finish when painting. So to start painting mine, I just mixed up a light browny orange colour and I just put this around all of the edge of the pizza slice. I just put it around the bottom to begin with, as this was where I was focusing on. As you can see, I am putting out a lot of fabric paint and just like kind of buttering it on. If here you see like me putting it down and you kind of press it into it, the foam does absorb the paint, and this is not what you want. When you're spreading it on, you want to do a light hand and just like smooth it on, kind of like butter on toast, rather than really pressing it into the sponge. This will give you a much more slow rising effect once all this paint dries, as it was act like a kind of protective layer over the foam, trapping all the air inside. So you really just want to work this paint onto the foam, not pressing it in, just smoothing it out on the surface so you're left with a nice thick layer. I then set this to dry, and once fully dry, I then moved on and painted the crust in the exact same colour. And the reason that I did this in two separate kind of sections was just so that I could then lay the pizza on its like bottom to dry, and doing it in different like sections like this really does help out with drying time and keeping all the colours neat and kind of together. It also helps with trying to like balance it and like prop it up and everything like that. It just saves you time when trying to do that. So as you can see here, this is how I would dry it, just flat on its bottom, because obviously the bottom bit is already dry. Next, I went in and took some red fabric paint, and this was just by the brand Scribbles, and I went round all of the edge of the bottom layer of pizza, and I just like put this all over that kind of edge and all along the edge of the crust also. This was just to act like the tomato sauce, and I wanted to put this layer on like at this point so that when the cheese layer goes on, it kind of overlaps it a bit more, making it a little bit more realistic. What I then did was mixed up a yellow puffy paint mixture. This was just puffy paint with some PVA glue mixed in. Because I knew I was going to do a couple layers, I wanted lots and lots of paint, so I just mixed this all up in a little tub and painted it on. As you can see here, I'm kind of overlapping the red a little tiny bit. The red is still dry, so I'm just patting it on rather than mixing it in it, as I don't want to spread the red. but I'm just putting it over the red a little bit so that it looks like the cheese is on top of the tomato sauce. I just covered the whole of the top of the pizza with the cheese colour. As you can see here, once the cheese colour had completely dried, there was loads and loads of air holes, so I put on another really thick layer of the same coloured paint again, and this again was just painting it on like butter, doing a really thick layer, practically as thick as I could get it, and then I just left it to dry overnight. Also, I forgot to mention that on the sides, I did actually try and make it into like a wavy, cheesy, drippy like effect rather than keeping it straight. And the reason I did this was because, like I said before, I just wanted it to look like the cheese had melted on top of the tomato sauce. So the next day now, I went ahead with the same light brown orangey coloured fabric paint mixture, and I just painted all over the bread colour that I had previously painted. This was due to the fact that there was loads of air bubbles once the first layer had dried, and I just really wanted to trap them in to make this squishy as slow rising as possible. So as you can see, I'm really packing on the paint once again and just smoothing it out once it's on there. Once again, as you'll see, I'm only doing the bottom piece of this in the second layer, and this was just so that I could rest it on the bottom of the crust. Well, it's actually the top of the crust, but you know, like the other way around, so that it was able to dry without smearing any of the paint. And then a couple hours later, I think it was about 3 hours later that coat took to dry, I came back and then just painted the rest of it. And I left that to dry again overnight. And to be honest, this squishy took me so long to make. Like, it was almost like 4 days that this was over. 4 days to make like a 12-minute video, but 4 days, regardless, it was worth it. I made other squishies in the meantime. So once all the cheese and all the bread and all of that was completely done, I then went ahead with a red puffy paint and I just painted on some pepperoni slices on this. I just based this off the paper squishy pizza slice that I made recently, and I will leave a link to that in the description down below just in case you don't have memory foam. I of course already have a paper version made. So I just did 3 pepperoni slices in total, and then I left that to dry again. This didn't take very long, as with a paintbrush it was a very thin layer and it took about an hour to dry for those in total. Next I went ahead and just squeezed out some white, black and pink puffy paints, and then with a tiny paintbrush again I just painted on a little kawaii face on the front of the pizza. Now I did do a little open mouth face because I am just loving this face recently, as you may well know because I keep putting it on everything. But yeah, I just did that in the black puffy paint with a tiny little paintbrush, and I actually got this paintbrush from Hobbycraft in the like model making section just so that it's so small. And then I added some highlight to the eyes using the white puffy paint, and then with a little bit of the pink paint I just did some blush. This pink paint, by the way, is actually light pink in the Tulip Slick. That's the exact colour, just in case you want to buy it. Anyway, so yeah, once the face was fully dry, the squishy was then complete. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. I think it looks so cute, and it's just like perfect in the way that the crust is a lot bigger than the rest of the slice, and the squishiness of it is just Perfect. It's super soft because of the foam that I have bought. Like, the foam that I bought wasn't very dense to begin with, so it works out really well. The slow risiness of this is absolutely great, and that simply is down to the layers of paint that we put on. On this squishy, I did only put 2 layers of each colour onto it, and it probably would have been a little tiny bit more slow rising if I put 3, but I feel like this balance of slow risiness has turned out really well for the fact that it is such a big squishy. So yeah, like I said, I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with the colours of it also. I feel like I could have done this in like different kawaii colours and everything, but I wanted to keep it fairly realistic and similar to the paper version that I have already made. As you can see, it holds those hand crinkles really well, and yeah, I'm just really happy with it, and I just love its face so much. So hopefully you did enjoy this video also, watching me how to make this. If you did, then please do give the video a thumbs up, as it really does help me to gauge what type of videos you like to see. Tomorrow I should have a redecorating video coming for you, and yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!